trying to loosen the foot peg in order to get the kickstarter on. Good. Right, I'm not going to force that until I get some oil to the top end. Okay, I'm just prepping the engine for its first run, which probably won't be today now. I've put a couple of shots of oil down the spark plug hole. I've taken off the valve adjustment cover so that I can get a view of the oil well that the cam runs in, to make sure that when I crank it over that there's oil getting to the head. So I'm going to push it over by hand now and see what happens. More by luck than by judgment, episode 50 will probably be our first attempt to start the engine since the work that we've done on it so far. The bike is far from finished, but it is at a point where the engine's in and the fueling system's in, and so now's a good point to check that the engine still runs. I have already checked for spark, which is great, and I have checked there is oil getting to the head and that there is oil in the crankcase. So yeah, this is a test for the engine and it's a test for the exhaust system. So I do know the spark's a little bit on the weak side because I think the battery is down to about 4 volts. So we'll try it with that particular battery, and if that doesn't work we'll have to switch it out for another one, but we'll see. Now that the tank is fitted, the first thing I have to do is turn the fuel back on. And I do know that this carburetor, the needle likes to stick a little bit if it's been sat dry for a little while. So there's every possibility that we're going to start pissing fuel everywhere. So the tap is on and now we just have to wait. I can see there's fuel in the spyglass on the filter. Not seeing anything pouring out yet, but it may take a minute or so to fill. I'll come back in a mo. So I'm just using my flashlight because the lighting's so bad, but you can actually see the carburetor dripping from time to time. So I think the needle is stuck and there's a bit of overflow issue. I'm going to give it a few wraps, give it a few minutes and just see if it settles down. This happens every time I take the carburetor off for a little while. So it's definitely a good reason to take the carb apart and give it a good clean once we know the bike's up and running. Okay, it's a filthy afternoon out there today. If it wasn't so nasty I'd do this outside, but it is what it is. So this is going to be the first attempt to start the bike. I don't know how long it will take, whether it will be a quick process or whether it will take 58,000 kicks, but I'll try and film it in one hit, although if it takes forever the editing will be shortened. So the ignition on, we have a green light, the choke on, the heater kicked. So here we go. I've got the bike up on a block slightly, stop it leaning too far over. Right, here goes, wish me luck. I'm going to get rid of the block, it's more of a liability. I'm only going to run it for a few seconds at a time as well because there's brand new heat paint on the exhaust and you've got to build it up gently. If it starts. Try it without choke. Oh, this is easy. Put the choke back on. I have checked the spark. Okay, let that cool for a moment and then we'll try it again. Excellent. It's running. Right, I believe the smoke you're seeing is the oil I put down the cylinders prior to running this up. I put a few shots down there and let it sit for a couple of days just to make sure the ball was lubricated. So I'm pretty confident that that smoke is what you're seeing burning off there. Again, I've shut it down because I want the paint to cure on the manifold rather than burn. I did notice it was smoking slightly just now. So I'm going to let that settle down for probably a half hour now and take it from there. Excellent. A quick impromptu lighting test to make sure that the lights are now working on the front. They are mounted back to front. I also blew a neutral light bulb, which is a little bit concerning. Could just be bad luck, but I fitted another one at the same time, so it's a double test. So I just took something out. I don't quite know what happened. As soon as I put on the main lights, it blew the neutral light and took out the main lighting. So something's not right. Okay, I've found what I think is the cause of the problem. It's a classic bad earth. So when I turn the lights on, all the power has nowhere to earth to. So it's using the neutral switch as its only path to earth and blowing the bulb on the way through and taking out the lighting circuit. I've traced the bad earth. We're good up to this point. This is the other side of that panel. So the earth is good here, but it's not making it into this panel here that supports all this bracketry. Now I know we are good to earth here, here, everywhere else. It just stops basically at this point. So there's a couple of things I'd like to do really. One is I think is back up the earth. So I'm going to try and rectify the earth anyway, but at the same time I might add a jumper earth cable to another hard point just to act as backup. It's a bit disconcerting that the entire lighting circuit runs through a single earth cable that runs from this point here. So I may try and find a backup earth system, so maybe pull it from a different point on the earth network here and find a earth point up here that might act as a secondary earth just for security, so we don't lose lighting in the middle of the night just because you turn the corner. I've re-established earth connection, but it is still through that single point. I'm not going to run it again tonight because I don't want to blow any more bulbs if the earth is having issues with the amount of current that's going through it. So I'm going to get a couple more connectors, which I don't have at the moment, and make up a little extra earth wiring loom just to back up the one I've got there. This is less than ideal. So I'll jump out of that, and I suspect I'll probably come up to this one here, which screws directly into the frame, and that will just give me a second earth reference. And I may even be able to take something from the headlight bulb and come back through the back of the headlight and back onto that nut there as well, thus just giving us triple redundancy. But other than that, I'm quite pleased with the way today's gone. Subsequent runs after the initial one gave less and less smoke every time I ran it. Still a bit smoky, so I suspect there's a bit of oil still hanging around in the cylinder, and I suspect that some of it is from the production of the brand new exhaust as well, so there may well be oily parts in that, or perhaps it's the I don't know, the packing just heating up. So we'll see. It'll get more runs as the days go by, and yeah, all good.